65 agonizing days have passed since Savannah Guthrie's mother vanished into thin air. Now investigators are zeroing in completely on her private sleeping quarters and the attached carport. What could they be searching for in there? Welcome to Crime Stories. I am your host, Nancy Grace, and I truly appreciate you joining our search for answers today. Let us jump right over to our lead investigative journalist, Dave Mack, for the newest updates. What are you hearing, Dave? Well, Nancy, a major development we have all been eagerly anticipating finally happened when Savannah made her long-awaited return to the morning anchor desk. And honestly, viewers across the nation desperately needed to see that familiar face again, because navigating 2 brutal months of uncertainty takes a massive emotional toll. Just as the network promised, she reclaimed her seat at the broadcast table, so let us play a quick clip of that exact moment right now. Good morning and welcome to our Monday broadcast, where we are absolutely thrilled you are tuning in, and I must say it feels wonderful to be back here. It is undeniably fantastic to see her sitting there again, ready to dive straight into the headlines, but she also shared a completely different message elsewhere. She uploaded a deeply intimate recording directly to her congregation's online portal, sharing incredibly private thoughts that pull right at the heartstrings. She opened up about her religious beliefs during the spring holiday, connecting themes of rebirth to the unimaginable nightmare her relatives are currently enduring with her mom missing. The footage breaks your heart as she explains how you cannot truly appreciate spiritual renewal without first confronting the brutal realities of grief, agony, and mortality. She poetically describes how pitch-black shadows make the dawn feel incredibly glorious and necessary, allowing her to shut her eyelids and simply absorb the warm rays of hope. Her mind envisions a radiant future where the physical and spiritual realms finally merge into absolute perfection, bringing divine peace to our broken world. That ultimate salvation is the core reason for our current festivities. She declares holding firmly to her beliefs while wishing everyone a joyous and meaningful holiday. Those were the anchor's profound words shared with her parish for the Holy Weekend, but bringing it back to Dave Mack, what is driving this sudden obsession with the victim's house? It turns out the missing woman routinely used the indoor parking bay as her main entrance. Yet, detectives merely towed her sedan away for a few weeks of testing. You have to remember, Nancy authorities let 6 entire days pass after she vanished before they finally decided to impound that automobile from the property. That leaves a massive window for crucial evidence to linger in a space the abductors might have used for prep work, while her flawlessly clean sleeping area raises even more questions. Despite that tidiness, cops spotted subtle clues indicating a violent struggle happened, prompting them to reconstruct the exact furniture arrangement of her primary suite. They desperately need to map out where every single item originally sat, hunting for any personal belongings that might have been bumped or moved during an attack. Let us bring in Chris McDonough, a seasoned murder investigator and head of the Cold Case Foundation, who brings massive expertise in hunting down fugitives across the southern border. He boasts over 300 solved kill cases and hosts a massive online true crime channel, so please detail why this specific living space catches your professional eye, Chris. When you analyze footage of the matriarch arranging her linens and organizing that specific room, Nancy, you see an entirely different story unfolding. Average viewers just see daily chores, but my trained eyes instantly lock onto the tight alleyway separating the mattress from the drywall, which tactically creates a trap. If an intruder breaches that sanctuary, knowing her established habit of resting on the left mattress edge near her personal timekeeping device, he holds all the cards. Her reading materials and favorite sitting spot definitively mark her primary nesting area, meaning any attacker would purposely position themselves right beside that specific edge. Tracking those movements helps cops theorize exactly how the invader broke inside, which naturally brings up those swirling rumors about plastic sheeting being involved. But seriously, who even started that ridiculous sheeting theory, and how would a captor successfully wrap a struggling victim up like that indoors? I completely dismissed that wrapping theory, especially since the red stains found outside suggest he dragged her straight out the main entrance instead. We are looking at interior footage captured during a family visit generously provided by the Daytime Network's online video channel. I actually share your skepticism regarding that plastic covering theory, but what specific forensic details make you doubt its validity so strongly? Observers keep claiming his bag held a heavy-duty cover, but realistically, any physical overpowering had to occur right beside her mattress. Watching her daily routine of straightening out the blankets perfectly illustrates her predictable habits, creating a rigid schedule an abductor could easily exploit. A heavy reading habit and the nearby seating are vital clues highlighting exactly where an older individual would rest to gather their strength upon waking up. Seniors usually need to stretch their limbs and slowly transition into the morning, requiring those familiar comfort pieces to be positioned within arm's reach. Curiously missing is her smart wristband station that supposedly lost power at exactly 2:28 in the morning, so I need to closely examine that nightstand footage again. You nailed it, that corner should hold her cellular charger and audio aids, though she hid them from view. But Chris, why does her daily schedule matter so much? We are on the same page overall, yet I am totally lost on how her preferred mattress exit direction provides any real evidentiary value in a court of law. It matters entirely because the perpetrator was practically forced to ambush her in that exact narrow corridor of space. When her daughter talks about the sheer terror her mother faced, realize that the intruder purposefully pinned her against the drywall, eliminating any possible escape route. Imagine the mind-numbing panic an 85-year-old grandmother experienced while staring at a disguised invader lurking right beside her pillows. In that chilling moment, the very next psychological step for any sadistic criminal is to instantly amplify the victim's sheer panic to gain compliance. Perhaps she reached for her bedside lamp in the dark, giving the attacker yet another environmental advantage to assert total physical dominance. Reconstructing these minute details essentially forces us directly into the killer's dark mindset, which perfectly transitions to our next guest, Joseph Scott Morgan, a renowned forensics professor who hosts an incredibly popular audio series. Honestly, Joseph identifying that tight corner as a trap holds zero legal weight for me beyond simply pointing out where crime scene techs should dust for fingerprints or genetic material. Chris McDana hit the absolute bullseye. That exact spot begs for investigation, assuming Nano's crew even considered taking a peek. Did they actually follow through? Highly unlikely, though not entirely impossible. So what is your take on this? Her current location completely validates your point about control points, especially since the ultimate goal clearly involves dragging her away from that specific perimeter. Let us break down the reality of the situation. During an average day, ordinary folks simply never track their own footsteps or pay attention to what their fingers brush against. Criminals operating at an active scene fall into the exact same trap. Suspects run on pure adrenaline and muscle memory. Intruders lack the foresight to worry about dropping trace evidence that law enforcement might eventually uncover. Correct, their entire mental bandwidth centers entirely on overpowering a victim during an abduction scenario. Consequently, that entire zone becomes a massive hotspot for leaving trace materials behind. Attackers blindly stomp around the area without ever policing what they graze against. We are talking about far more than just standard fingerprint impressions because invisible touch, DNA, transfers instantly. That specific genetic material often includes microscopic skin flakes shedding directly from an exposed wrist. Even criminals wearing gloves leave skin exposed. A stray hair easily drops unnoticed. Nancy failing to lock down a perimeter and refusing to treat the scene like an absolutely sterile operating room spells disaster for forensic investigators. Crucial clues vanish in the blink of an eye due to their incredibly delicate microscopic nature. This reality perfectly highlights why preserving the perimeter to freeze time is the absolute most critical step we can take. Proper lockdown allows technicians to photograph and securely bag items, though currently the evidence well remains completely dry. Relying on plastic just to afford everyday necessities, like food, fuel, or power, simply means getting slammed by a ruthless 20% survival tax. American Financing helps property owners leverage their home equity to eliminate toxic debt, offering loan rates lingering around the 5% mark. Typically, clients using American Financing save a whopping $800 monthly. That means keeping $800 every single month, plus consulting their salaried experts costs absolutely nothing up front. Why should this matter to you? Since these agents earn a flat salary, they never chase pushy commission percentages. Act now to skip 2 upcoming payments. Call American Financing at 866-880-344. Again, dial 866-880-344 or hit americanfinancing.net/Nancy. And best of luck. Dave Mack, your earlier points perfectly explained the massive shift in focus toward her sleeping quarters alongside Chris McDana and Scott Morgan, yet the property's garage has also become a major focal point. Can you guess the reason authorities impounded her car for 14 days, yet the public remains entirely in the dark regarding any forensic evidence pulled from that parking bay? The bay entryway stayed completely sealed. Whenever news lenses managed to catch it opening, the car vanished inside right before the barrier slammed firmly closed. Consequently, detectives returning to scour the concrete enclosure for fingerprints and microscopic clues naturally sparks a brand new avenue of inquiry. Joe Scott examined the available footage displaying the exterior vehicle bay of her residence. Current theories suggest a standard remote clicker operated that automatic door. Records confirm Annie Guthrie received a ride from her spouse that night, though houses frequently feature exterior-mounted access keypads too. Footage provided by Channel 12 News proves these outdoor security pads represent the most easily compromised systems imaginable. This strongly suggests the attacker breached the property via the parking enclosure. Could that reveal their exact path? Reports confirm potted plants kept the rear entryway wedged ajar, while the primary front entrance served as the escape route for Mrs. Guthrie. Yet the automated vehicle barrier remains a mystery. What digital tricks compromise those systems, and what forensic traces might detectives salvage from the compromised keypad? Are the authorities chasing this exact theory, Joe Scott? That seems incredibly likely. Pay close attention. because a vehicle bay provides an exceptionally fascinating environment for any predator attempting to completely hide their actions from public scrutiny. My mind keeps circling back to one specific concept, and that vital keyword happens to be absolute containment. Whenever a suspect needs to subdue a target while simultaneously planning a clean getaway, this enclosed space offers unparalleled tactical concealment. Makes sense. Currently, the existence of hidden surveillance or digital logs nearby remains unconfirmed, yet the location itself provides an absolutely flawless staging ground. Assuming the culprit possesses a high level of technical savvy, specifically regarding digital security systems, and modern gadgetry, things get interesting. A digital breach seems completely plausible, though interior walls usually house these main interface units. What mechanism drives the connection? Perhaps a Bluetooth frequency. A wireless transmitter undeniably exists, since anyone owning an automated bay mechanism knows you can easily trigger the mechanism while casually driving down the street. Does that ring a bell? Despite relying on vastly outdated tech, a simple button push from way down the block instantly activates the lifting motors. Could a savvy intruder have somehow intercepted that remote frequency? Investigators must absolutely address and resolve this glaring mystery. Does any method exist to digitally track network logs and prove an outside party maliciously breached the bay controls? Is it truly possible to bypass an automatic bay barrier? Without a doubt, since these older systems rely entirely on vulnerable low-frequency broadcast signals. Joe Scott accurately noted the standard interior wall mounts, yet properties simultaneously feature a highly exposed exterior keypad right on the driveway. This setup grants owners access whenever they misplace their remotes, operating strictly between the 300 and 400 MHz radio bands. Invisible waves link the handheld clicker directly to the ceiling motor, functioning almost identically to a classic automotive stereo system. Similar to radio towers beaming music or podcast voices through the atmosphere, automatic barrier frequencies broadcast information identically. Encrypted commands fly through the air to engage the lowering or lifting mechanisms. Breaching these barriers proves terrifyingly simple, requiring nothing more than a modified children's plaything. So pay attention. Criminals can effectively brute force their entry through static code residential gates utilizing a seemingly innocent Mattel gadget known as the IME, a discontinued novelty item. However, rogue tech enthusiasts discovered a highly capable CC11110 chip inside, functioning as a complete micro-broadcasting unit. Listen to this insane gadget's capability. This tiny transceiver blasts and pulls signals across massive spectrums, sweeping anywhere from 200 MHz to roughly 950 MHz. That means you instantly hijack a crazy amount of devices, hitting garage doors, vehicles, utility meters, security setups, and pretty much everything operating on those wavelengths. Flip the gadget over, check underneath the battery pack, and you will spot secret connection pins to wipe the motherboard and force feed your custom firmware. With that access, anyone can easily code a De Bruyne sequence, forcing the gadget to broadcast those specific data bits on whichever exact radio frequency they choose to target. This effortlessly unlocks any automatic door or security gate imaginable, as showcased by Veritasium on YouTube. Scott Morgan proves that digital break-ins require zero effort, and the sheer simplicity of this is downright chilling. Nancy, we're not simply discussing a random breached smartphone or a hacked tablet computer right now. We are facing a complete takeover of security at someone's personal private residence. Watching these live demonstrations of such effortless digital trespassing really makes you wonder about the actual skill levels required by the criminals executing these terrifying neighborhood breaches. If a highly organized gang already specializes in coordinated home invasions, brutal burglaries, or violent extortion tactics, let me be brutally honest with you, that standard automatic garage door looks incredibly vulnerable to bypassing Nancy, and that frightening reality dramatically widens the suspect pool regarding exactly who might have orchestrated this specific horrific crime. Let me pivot to our investigative journalist Dave Mack. If someone digitally bypassed that barrier, wouldn't the system register a log showing the exact timestamps of when it lifted and shut? I seriously question whether a forced digital breach leaves identical system logs because her exact arrival time was only established due to the motor documenting those precise moments the barrier actually lifted and dropped down. Therefore, if an intruder spoofed the remote frequency to force entry, could that specific digital manipulation actively prevent the motor's internal computer from recording those critical operational timestamps? Bypassing the log creates a massive blind spot, but assuming the computer strictly registers every single activation sequence regardless of origin, investigators will absolutely retrieve that digital footprint. Welcome everybody, this is Nancy Grace asking you to stream crime stories early on Fox 1, because the second a major case breaks, we dig deep and deliver the truth. Expect explosive developments, profound clarity on heavily publicized mysteries, and deep dives into completely obscure horrors you never knew existed before tuning into our broadcast. We rip the police tape away to feature unprecedented interviews with desperate relatives, brilliant forensic specialists, lead detectives, and confidential informants closest to the action. Track America's most gripping courtroom battles alongside our team, featuring uninterrupted gavel-to-gavel broadcasting paired perfectly with instant expert breakdowns. Catch Crime Stories with Nancy Grace streaming early on Fox 1, so tune in and thanks, friends. Returning to Morgan, our discussion highlighted an intense secondary focus surrounding the victim's primary sleeping quarters alongside her vehicle bay. That specific detail sparked serious questions regarding potential uncollected biological fluids lingering at the scene. I must ask viewers keep wondering if forensic analysis of droplets can definitively distinguish a standard hemorrhage from an actively medicated patient taking pharmaceutical thinners. Pull up the alternate photographs of the victim specifically featuring the patio seating image alongside that touching portrait posing with Savannah. Focus closely on that portrait with Savannah to examine the exposed appendage, since I firmly believe that is her left arm. Notice the obvious subcutaneous hemorrhaging, a notoriously widespread side effect for patients prescribed heavy medical thinners like Eliquis or comparable pharmaceutical treatments. Can crime scene technicians actively detect those specific medications within the spatters? And does that chemical alter the actual droplet geometry? Furthermore, do visual inspections determine whether the fluid originated from nasal cavities versus oral trauma? Let us analyze the projected graphic first before diving deeper. Your intuition is spot on because extensive forensic research clearly demonstrates how patients taking prescribed thinners like warfarin, commonly referred to as Coumadin by professionals, present highly unique markers. Investigators frequently encounter these distinct visual patterns, predominantly among senior citizens, considering that demographic constitutes the primary prescription base. Younger patients absolutely utilize these cardiovascular drugs too. But for this specific investigation, keeping our focus on geriatric effects is crucial. Furthermore, aging dramatically depletes natural collagen, leaving a senior's fragile dermis resembling delicate tissue paper that tears away under minimal pressure. That immediately raises an intense operational question regarding our ability to distinguish a fluid transfer originating from an injured extremity, like a fractured wrist. We must contrast those limb lacerations against violent eruptions, projecting outward from the facial cavities medically designated as the nasopharyngeal region. Forensic experts absolutely can differentiate those sources, and my professional analysis of these porch photographs strongly suggests those specific concrete droplets display obvious characteristics of respiratory expulsion. We are explicitly looking at classic aeration markers, proving the fluid was forcefully exhaled directly through the victim's respiratory tract during the brutal attack. Dr. Michael Baden forcefully argued this exact same forensic theory during his Fox News broadcast, and I completely agree. His expert medical deduction is flawless. Meanwhile, tonight we are deeply analyzing a suspicious Amazon box's mysterious arrival timeline. Dave Mack carefully examined this entryway surveillance tape showing a lurking individual late January 31st, leading into early February, revealing absolutely zero boxes before a parcel magically materializes by dawn. The visual evidence is stunningly crisp, showing an empty stoop suddenly occupied by a parcel begging the terrifying question, did the attacker plant a decoy? The only logical deduction remaining, Nancy, is that this prowler deliberately carried a cardboard prop to completely mask their true sinister intentions from onlookers. Anyone spotting you creeping through the neighborhood immediately accepts the fake narrative that you are merely delivering parcels. That excuse perfectly justifies lingering, although a legitimate corporate courier would leave an ironclad digital trail verifying the driver's identity and exact drop-off minute. Actually, Dave Mack authorities in Pima County just handled a coordinated residential strike where a female accomplice successfully bypassed security by masquerading as a courier. Roll the footage of that female suspect executing the exact charade we just described, though a glaring tactical error immediately jumps out at me. Rewind to those comparative frames, Dave Mack, because this shadow figure likely clutched that cardboard box while prowling to instinctively deploy his fake courier cover story. Look closely at this stranger on the stoop. The parcel magically appears only after he vanishes. Let me bring in our expert Chris McDonough, a seasoned murder investigator who now heads the Cold Case Foundation and hosts the Interview Room Online. Our investigative team dug deep into this mystery, discovering that standard delivery vans always feature built-in surveillance gear. While legacy models lack full-circle views, their video quality remains incredibly sharp, and modern fleets boast complete 360-degree coverage. Just imagine the potential visual evidence recorded right before the kidnapping occurred, offering a massive pile of crucial clues. Without a doubt, watching those vehicles arrive at the house reveals every single unusual detail lurking around right before the snatching went down. Echoing exactly what David mentioned earlier in the broadcast. That snapshot of the doorstep drop-off provides absolute precision regarding the exact second the courier snapped the confirmation photo. Digital footprints hidden within the snapshot reveal everything, and my instinct suggests the driver noticed the crimson stains and immediately panicked. He simply shoved the box aside, captured the required image, and continued his daily route completely unaware of the looming tragedy left behind. Federal agents keep raising red flags regarding property deed hijackers targeting innocent homeowners and plotting to steal your hard-earned equity. Criminals merely fake your autograph to completely strip away your legal rights to the house. Leaving your assets unguarded guarantees absolute devastation, which is exactly why our Home Title Lock sponsorship helps you verify your safety status immediately. Head over to HometitleLock.com using the special keyword Nancy to secure a complimentary background check and test out their premium $1 million defense system. You receive constant round-the-clock watchfulness with rapid warnings, plus a massive $1 million restoration guarantee to safeguard your wealth from predators. Never let thieves snatch away the massive property value you sacrificed decades building up. Simply visit HometitleLock.com with our special discount word while returning to the case. Internet sleuths claim the knapsack hid the delivered parcel. Unless these armchair detectives possess superhuman sight, Joe Scott Morgan, their wild guesses range from concealed plastic covers to hidden tablet computers. Suddenly, everyone insists the courier box sat inside the satchel, but these baseless rumors make zero sense, since the image shows absolutely zero evidence. We are staring at a replica bag instead of the genuine article, making it physically impossible to decipher its hidden contents from this angle. Nobody alive possesses the ability to identify those hidden objects, but extremely bored individuals desperately crave any new breadcrumbs they can find. Scanning the footage carefully, absolutely zero items poke through the fabric, revealing completely flat surfaces with zero recognizable outlines whatsoever. Unless elite intelligence agencies suddenly share highly classified enhancement tools that miraculously penetrate solid materials to reconstruct internal geometry. Jumping to definite answers feels utterly foolish when the only verified truth confirms the suspect simply wore a rucksack. The camping brand bag clearly holds some sort of cargo, though honestly, the mystery items might just be dirty gym clothes. However, any competent detective must raise the crucial underlying issue here. What compelled this armed intruder to arrive bearing a storage pack, and what secret payload did he carry inside? Walking into an unknown territory while gripping a firearm clearly proves he fully anticipated shedding blood. Consider the specific tools an aggressor might pack to survive an explosive physical confrontation or suppress a struggling target. Could he have smuggled zip ties or handcuffs inside, or possibly stashed chemical solvents to wipe away the crime scene afterwards? Perhaps the bag served a simpler purpose, functioning merely as a secure vault for stolen household treasures. Stuffing stolen goods inside a concealed pouch allows a thief to escape quietly without raising any neighboring eyebrows. My gut insists footage exists of their getaway, especially since arrival clips surfaced, leaving me begging digital forensics teams to recover those of missing frames. Anyone holding clues regarding her vanishing must immediately call 800-22553-24 or contact 52088-27463 secretly. A massive bounty exceeding $1.2 million awaits whoever provides location details, completely avoiding any requirements for police captures or court verdicts. That staggering $1.2 million payout stands while accomplices who helped hide the culprit face severe criminal prosecution. Courtrooms rigorously evaluate every single action surrounding the offense, serving as a brutal warning that local laws still execute condemned prisoners. Lethal injection remains highly active here, adding immense pressure alongside that gigantic $1.2 million payout waiting to be claimed. Tonight honors a brave prison guard named Dustin Pedigo, who suffered fatal knife wounds while forcing his widow Bethany to mourn a true patriot. Massive appreciation goes out to tonight's expert panel and our loyal viewers for continuously fueling the hunt for our missing woman. This is our nightly farewell until tomorrow's broadcast, wishing you a very safe evening and a wonderful week ahead. Support our ongoing crusade to track down vanished kids and crack cold murders by streaming our audio episodes wherever you prefer to seek ultimate justice. From the content above, one powerful lesson emerges: the importance of awareness, responsibility, and empathy in how we live and interact with the world around us. In life, it's easy to move quickly to focus only on our own goals and to overlook the impact of our actions. But real growth begins when we slow down and truly see the consequences of what we do, the people we affect, and the values we choose to uphold. Every decision, no matter how small, shapes not only our future, but also the environment and community we are part of. Education is not just about knowledge, it is about becoming a better human being. It teaches us to think critically, to act responsibly, and to care deeply. When we understand the deeper meaning behind our actions, we become more mindful, more compassionate, and more purposeful. Let this be a reminder: your choices matter, your voice matters, and your ability to make a positive difference is greater than you think. By choosing kindness, awareness, and responsibility every day, you don't just change your own life, you help create a better world for everyone.